Victory for the Meralco Bolts as they renewed their rivalry with Barangay Ginebra in the PBA Governors Cup. The Bolts beat the Gin Kings on Sunday's doubleheader at the Big Dome, the Smart Araneta Coliseum. Final score here, 101-95. Meralco import Tony Bishop powered the Bolts with 30 points, 13 rebounds, and also dishing out 7 assists. The Bolts now have won 4 straight to remain undefeated so far, along with Magnolia in the import-laden conference. And now joining us to go all out of this story is none other than Meralco Bolts head coach Norman Black. Coach Norman, good morning. Welcome back to the show. Thank you for taking our call, Coach.
Morning, Trey. How are you?
I'm good, Coach. I hope you also had a great weekend. I'm assuming you did. after those.
Yes.
Coach, your victories did not come easy, especially that one against Ginebra last night. A lot of fans watching, including myself. Of course, we know your history with Barangay Ginebra, especially in the Governors Cup. What was your assessment of the Bolts, your team's performance, especially in your first 2 games of the year? It's a great start, 2022 for you. And what are the things, if ever, that you want to, still tweak, adjust a bit moving forward?
Yeah, last night I was really concerned about the fact that we were playing back-to-back. We had 1 day off in between our game with Inlex and our game with Ginebra. Going into the game, obvious concerns are their size. They're so big with Japet Aguilar and Stan Hardinger playing the center and power forward position. And then, of course, you have Arvin Tolentino, who's about 6'4", 6'5", and then they have their import, who's 6'5". So it was really a challenge trying to match up with them yesterday as far as their size was concerned. And we felt the big key to the game was our ability to rebound the basketball. We felt if we could rebound the basketball, we would be able to get out and run, which would give us a better chance of winning.
Well, Coach, you gave props to Tony Bishop, and rightfully so. I think your imports, really the perfect fit for you. And during the post-game conference last night, you were just really crediting him for laying the foundation you could build on to win against Ginebra. But it wasn't just last night, Coach. Tony has been really brilliant so far. Like, as I said, the past 4 games, he has really clicked for you. As we take a look at his numbers here, averaging close to 32 points per game, grabbing 14 boards per outing, as well as dishing out 5 assists. He's doing it all for you, Coach. We know expectations are really high for Tony, especially because of your history with Alan Durham. Every time he plays for you, you've had success with him. He's always been the best import every time he plays for Meralco. But let's talk about Tony Bishop. Focus the spotlight on him and what he has brought to Meralco, especially in this campaign. So far, so good for you.
Yeah, you can see his numbers on the screen there. And the fact that he's very, very consistent the way he plays. Yeah. When I said he gives us a foundation, what I basically mean is he gives us the numbers every single night to build off of. And he's so consistent that the local players know they just have to play their game for us to have a better chance of winning the basketball game. But I'd like to note for a second, Dre, that one of the most important things with Tony, which people won't know, is his attitude. He has a great attitude. He gets along with the players. That's half the battle as far as I'm concerned. And the fact that he's very intelligent. He picks up things very, very quickly, and he can make adjustments on the fly.
Well, I believe the locals also love him as a teammate because he is just really playing seamlessly with the locals, like on the same page. Coach, Meralco is one of the few teams that have stuck with their imports since the start of the conference. I can only count the other teams who have kept their imports. But your thoughts on this, Coach? Because he's been producing results. I think that's really the thing. If the import is not working, they're not winning, they have to replace. But your thoughts on this, Coach? You're one of the teams sticking with Tony Bishop, your import.
Well, there's no reason for us to change him, that's for sure. I mean, he's been there every night for us. He's been the leading scorer. He's been the leading rebounder. We're 4-0, so the difference between Tony Bishop and Alan Durham is that they're both very, very good players. Alan obviously is probably a little bit stronger in the post as far as getting post-ups, and Tony is more of a perimeter player. He has a very good outside shot. That's a new dimension we haven't really had with our import in this conference. The fact that Tony can make his 3-point shots. I think he's shooting I think 60% from 3 points so far this conference. And he's also a good mid-range shooter. So it gives us a little bit more flexibility as far as our offense is concerned. And that certainly is not to take anything away from AD. He was a dominant force when he was here in the Philippines. That's why he was named best import 3 times in his stints here in the Philippines. But, Tony gives us a lot, particularly on the perimeter.
Well, we also got to finally see Chris Banchero play for you last night. I still believe that's one of the greatest signings that you've had, especially with the free agency. And you won by signing a player like Chris Banchero. And you said in the post game as well that he doesn't quite know what he's doing yet with the team. Only knows 2 or 3 plays so far. And and defensively, you weren't. He wasn't as smooth, but of course, you haven't had a lot of time with CB yet in practice, I think since last week, 2 weeks ago, since signing with you. But why are you excited? Paint us a picture, Coach, to have a player like Chris Banchero on the team, and what do you expect from him moving forward with Meralco?
Yeah, Chris has been with us a couple of weeks now, but he went straight into health protocols. He just joined us the last couple of practices. And it's a little bit of an adjustment considering that he doesn't really know much of what we're doing right now. But he's a professional, and he was able to blend quite well, particularly in the second half. We struggled a little bit in the first half, particularly with the second team. We struggled with our defensive rotations, but in the second half, I thought he made very, very good adjustments, and he was able to blend in quite well. And he certainly helped us win the game last night. What Chris brings to the table is a point guard who can play the 2 guard because he's strong enough. And he gives us scoring. He can rebound the basketball. He can assist, and he's a good defensive player. So it's a big uplift as far as our talent level is concerned going into the rest of the conference. But more importantly, I've always been a coach that liked to have a point guard, a shooting guard, and a small forward who are interchangeable, guys who can actually play the point, the 2 guard, and the 3 positions. So now I have a lot of flexibility as far as that's concerned, which means our offense becomes less predictable and we become more potent as an offensive team.
Well, here are Chris Banchero's numbers yesterday against Barangay Ginebra. 50% from the field, 12 points, also dishing out 3 assists. He did have 4 turnovers in 23 minutes. So I'm sure he's still getting accustomed to the system and also to his new teammates as well. Well, your next opponent will be the winless Northport Batang Pier. I've said this before that the record really doesn't do justice to the team that they have because they're really talented, and they, like, on paper, I still believe that Northport is better than their record. How are you approaching this game, Coach, knowing that Northport can erupt and then can get a win, or this team, this talented, is hungry for that victory?
Well, I read in the news that Bolick will be back, so that'll give them a big lift as far as their point guard position is concerned. You never know whether Greg will sign this week, and he's another talented player who plays for the Northport team. So we have to be prepared for that also. I've always said that, Drake, that we are a type of team that can beat all of the top teams, but at the same time, we also struggle with the teams that are below us. So we can't afford to take any team for granted. We're not that good, and we have to come ready to play. And, you beat a team like Ginebra, which is one of the best teams in the league. At the same time, you don't want to stumble in the next game. So we have to be prepared. We have to be ready mentally and physically.
Well, Coach, thank you again for your time. Thank you for waking up and for talking to us. And we'll talk to you again soon. Congratulations so far. So good for Meralco. Keep going, Coach. And the best of luck the rest of the way. Thank you. Again, we just had Meralco Bolts head coach, one and only Norman Black.